It was the summer of 1987. I was 18, and my friends and I were inseparable. There was Jake, the fearless leader, Rachel, the skeptic, Tyler, the joker, and Matt, the quiet one who always had our backs. We'd been friends since elementary school, and that summer, we were determined to make the most of it. We spent our days exploring the woods around our hometown, but there was one place we'd never gone: the Devil's Tramping Ground. Our parents had warned us about it. They said it was cursed, that nothing grew there, and that strange things happened to anyone who spent the night. But we were teenagers, invincible and curious. So when Jake suggested we camp there, we agreed. Looking back, I wish I'd said no. It started as a joke. We were sitting around a campfire, roasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories. Jake brought up the Devil's Tramping Ground, like he always did, and this time, he dared us to spend the night there. "Come on," he said, grinning. "It's just a dumb legend. Nothing's going to happen." I hesitated. I'd heard the stories. How objects left in the circle would vanish overnight, how animals refused to enter it, and how people who stayed there were never the same. But the others were already packing their bags, their excitement outweighing their fear. I didn't want to be the one to back out, so I went along. The hike to the Devil's Tramping Ground took about an hour. The forest was eerily quiet, the only sound the crunch of leaves underfoot and the occasional hoot of an owl. As we got closer, the air grew colder, and the trees seemed to close in around us. I remember clutching my camera, trying to focus on documenting the adventure, but the unease was already creeping in. When we reached the circle, it was unmistakable. A perfect ring of barren earth surrounded by dense forest. The ground was hard and dry, like nothing had ever grown there. We set up our sleeping bags in the center, laughing nervously as we tried to shake off the growing sense of dread. As the sun set, the forest grew darker, and the atmosphere grew heavier. We tried to keep the mood light, telling jokes and sharing stories, but the unease was palpable. Then, around 10 p.m. the first strange thing happened. My camera, which had been working perfectly all day, suddenly malfunctioned. The flash wouldn't fire, and the lens refused to focus. I tried to fix it, but no matter what I did, it wouldn't work. Then, Rachel's flashlight flickered and died, plunging part of the circle into darkness. "It's just the batteries," Rachel said, though her voice wavered. But when she tried to replace them, the new ones didn't work either. It was around midnight when the whispers began. At first, they were faint, almost imperceptible, like the rustling of leaves in the wind. But as the night wore on, they grew louder, more insistent. We tried to ignore them, but the whispers seemed to come from all around us, just on the edge of hearing. "Do you hear that?" Tyler asked, his voice trembling. We all nodded, our faces pale in the dim light of the campfire. Then, the whispers became words. They were faint and distorted, but unmistakable. "Leave," they said. "Leave now." It was around 2 a.m. when Tyler woke up screaming. His face was pale, his eyes wide with terror. He said he'd seen a figure standing at the edge of the circle. A tall, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes. We tried to calm him down, but the fear was contagious. Then, we saw it too. The figure was just beyond the edge of the circle, its eyes burning like embers in the darkness. It didn't move, didn't speak. It just stood there, watching us. We huddled together, our flashlights flickering as we scanned the darkness. Then, the figure vanished, and the whispers stopped. For a moment, there was silence. But it didn't last. Tyler was the first to go. He had been sitting on the edge of the group, his back to the forest. One moment, he was there. The next, he was gone. His sleeping bag was still there, but there was no sign of him. We searched the area, calling his name, but the forest was eerily silent. We found his flashlight lying on the ground, its lens cracked and covered in a strange, black substance. Terrified, we decided to leave. But as we made our way back to our campsite, we realized something was wrong. The forest seemed different, the trees were twisted and gnarled, and the path we'd taken was nowhere to be found. It was as if the Devil's Tramping Ground had swallowed us whole. We ran blindly through the forest, the growling growing louder with every step. We could feel something chasing us, something dark and malevolent. One by one, we became separated, until only Jake and I remained. Jake and I finally emerged from the forest hours later, battered and bruised. But Tyler and Rachel were never found. Their bodies were discovered weeks later, mutilated and left in the center of the Devil's Tramping Ground. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night. The police called it a tragic accident, but I know better. The Devil's Tramping Ground is cursed, and we never should have gone there. Jake and I don't talk about it much, but sometimes, late at night, I hear the whispers again. And I know. The devil is still waiting. If you ever hear about the Devil's Tramping Ground, don't go. Some legends are true. In some places are better left alone. It was the summer of 1968. I was leading a team of researchers into Hoya Bashu Forest, a place known for its strange phenomena. We were there to study the legends, the twisted trees, the strange lights, the disappearances. The team consisted of my assistant, Andre, and 3 students, Alex, Maria, and Victor. We were equipped with cameras, recording devices, and a determination to uncover the truth. But what we found was beyond anything we could have imagined. From the moment we entered the forest, we felt it, a sense of unease, as if the trees themselves were watching us. The air was unnaturally still, and the only sound was the crunch of leaves underfoot. But as we ventured deeper, the atmosphere grew heavier, and the forest seemed to come alive. It was midday when we noticed the first sign, a strange, circular clearing where the trees grew in perfect spirals. The ground was barren, and the air was thick with the smell of sulfur. I insisted we investigate, but as we approached the clearing, our equipment began to malfunction. Cameras refused to focus, recording devices picked up only static, and compasses spun wildly. Then, we heard it, a faint whisper, just on the edge of hearing. It sounded like a voice, but the words were unintelligible. We tried to brush it off, but the unease lingered. By nightfall, we had set up camp near the clearing. But as the sun set, the forest grew darker, and the whispers grew louder. Alex was the first to notice something was wrong. He claimed he saw a figure standing at the edge of the clearing. A tall, shadowy figure with glowing green eyes. The others dismissed it as a trick of the light, but the fear was palpable. Then, Alex vanished. He had gone to collect firewood, but when he didn't return, we went searching for him. We found his backpack lying on the ground, its contents spilled out as if it had been dropped in a hurry. Nearby, we found footprints leading into the forest. But they weren't alone. Alongside Alex's prints were others, larger and deeper, as if something much heavier had been following him. We ran blindly through the forest, the growling growing louder with every step. We could feel something chasing us, something dark and malevolent. One by one, we became separated, until only Andre and I remained. We finally emerged from the forest hours later, battered and bruised. But Alex and the others were never found. Their bodies were discovered weeks later, mutilated and left in the center of the clearing. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night. The police called it a tragic accident, but I know better. Hoya Bashu Forest is cursed, and we never should have gone there. Andre and I don't talk about it much, but sometimes, late at night, I hear the whispers again, and I know, the forest is still waiting. If you ever hear about Hoya Bashu Forest, don't go. Some legends are true. In some places are better left alone.